Jose, and today I'm bringing you a video of the anatomy of the upper arm, the humerus and the radius and the ulna and everything. So this is the second part of the upper limb. So the first one included the clavicle and the scapula, and hopefully today I'm trying to get through the arms, the humerus and the radius and the ulna. Right, and so far if you've been watching and following the series of all my videos, you would have noticed that on the left we have the 3D anatomy model. This is basically an app I downloaded onto my Mac computer. On the right, for those of you that don't understand my accent, or for those that don't really get what I'm saying, or sometimes my voiceover is not really clear because I'm not using a microphone, I'm just speaking into the laptop straight away. You can always follow the diagrams on the right. This is taken from Pearson Education, as you can see the copyright on the bottom. And this one's from Netter's anatomy book. So he does, he's quite good at drawing, and he draws a lot of anatomy and stuff. So we'll crack on with the main one, the right part of the anatomy model. So this bone, long bone here, is known as the humerus, and if we isolate it, so this is what it looks like. So in terms of how the bone is and how it is, so usually we have the head of the humerus, which is shown here. This is this bit here. We have something known as, if you've ever done bone physiology and bone formation, you'll know that this long shafty bit over here is known as the diaphysis, and the end bit is known as the epiphysis, right? And this bit contains of hard collarbone on the edge, and it also has a periosteum, which is the outer covering of the bone, and the middle bit is made up of thin soft bone. This bottom part here is known as the silvery shiny bit here, which I will highlight with my pen, is known as the capitulum, which is shown here on the right. This bit here is known as the medial epicondyle. So the medial epicondyle. You see, you can follow whatever I say on these images here, and then you've got the radial fossa sitting right here. You have the coronoid fossa, which is this hole here, and then you have the capitulum, which I've already mentioned. Now, this whole thing is known as collectively is known as the diaphysis, and this is what the major part of the long bone. This bit here is known as the epiphysis, and the middle bit, which separates the diaphysis and the epiphysis, is referred to as the metaphysis. If you look closer, if I zoom into this bit here now, you can see that this top part is known, this bit here is known as the greater tubercular. This here is the head of the humerus. Well, underneath it is the head. What you have here is the articular joint, which joins onto the scapula. And then what you have here is the intertubercular sulcus, which are like little bony ridges. You have the deltoid tuberosity, which is the middle bit. This is the deltoid tuberosity. You have the intertubercular sulcus around here. You know, it all starts to make sense. So what you need to know is radial fossa. You have the coronoid fossa. You've got the medial epicondyle. You've got the capitulum. The diaphysis, which in the middle it contains of the deltoid tuberosity. You have what's known as the intertubercular sulcus. Over here we have the neck, which I've been drawn on this 3D model. You have the greater tuberculi here, and you've got the lesser one right there. Cool. So if you were to spin the bone around, you would notice that there's how it looks. And here you could see the trochlea. Oh, I forgot to mention, the trochlea is this bit here. The capitulum is known as the whole thing, the shiny bit there. The trochlea is this bit there, which I'm pointing to now, which you can see over here as well. So when if you were to turn the bone over, you would find the trochlea here. The shiny thing is prominent, and you find the medial epicondyle here. You have something known as the olecranon fossa. Fossa basically means an area with a depression in it. So you got the olecranon fossa. And again, you have the medial deltoid tuberosity, you've got the diaphysis. One thing that comes down this bit here, which is not clearly shown in this image, is something known as the radial groove. So this is above which the radial artery passes above. Then you have the rest of the things that we've mentioned, or you can always look back up here. So all this time we've been referring to the humerus, which is this whole bone here. And just to get you an idea, there's the anterior view, here's the medial view, here's the posterior view, and here's the lateral view. Now, certain things that I've missed out from this would be the well, we've mentioned the condyles, haven't we? We've mentioned the epicondyles. If you have any confusion, you can look down here. You've got the coronoid fossa there. You've got your lateral epicondyle, which is present here, and your medial. So medial means closer towards the center of the body, and lateral means away. So this is most probably, if you were to imagine your right hand facing with your palm facing upwards, and you were to touch your elbow where your humerus ends, this part, the lateral epicondyle, is closer towards on the side of your thumb, whereas the medial epicondyle would be at the side of your pinky finger. You've got your deltoid tuberculus, you've got your intratubercular sulcus, you've got your surgical neck, which is surgical neck is somewhere where they do the operation, and this is here. And the surgical neck separates the epiphysis with the diaphysis, also in medical terms known as the metaphysis, which I mentioned earlier. And you've got the greater tubercle, you've got the lesser tubercle anatomical neck around here. And yeah, so we've basically covered most of the main parts of the bone. Now, if we were to go down to, if I was to get the ulna and the radius up, so if I just find that. Yep, so now if we were to go down, if I was to get rid of this and go down here, we zoom in. Now this part of your arm is just below the elbow, so the elbow is here, and you have your capitulum there. What we have is cartilage within the middle. That you will learn when you look at the muscles in more detail. But what you have is two long bones here connected in the middle. In the middle here, we have something known as the intraosseous membrane, which is not shown in this 3D diagram. So I'll just draw that in with my pencil. And it's basically a thick fibrous membrane which holds together the two bones. So there is a hollow, but it's held together by, as you can see here, is something known as the intraosseous membrane. So if I was to zoom back out slightly, raise this up. We have your thumb here. So this here is known as the radius, and this here is known as the ulna. So the bone closer on the side of the thumb, or on the side of the lateral epicondyle, is known as the radius, and the one on the side of your pinky finger or to the medial epicondyle is known as the ulna. Right, and all you need to know is that they have the similar structures of the diaphysis, epiphysis. They have a deltoid radial tuberosity instead of a deltoid tuberosity. They have something known as a radial tuberosity. They have a trochlear notch, coronoid process, which is all found around here. If I was to isolate the ulna by itself, you can see that over here we have the coronoid process. So this is the trochlear notch. So this binds onto the trochlear of the. So if I was to go this image down, you know that the trochlear is this part here on the capitulum. So this here binds onto the trochlear, and then what we have here, it's known as the articular surface. So this also binds onto the trochlear, so it forms a really strong, solid, elbow joint, or a solid joint, which allows you to move your hands, but it keeps it firm and rigid. And that's the neck. So this is the ulna, and this almost looks like this. And if I was to bring the radius, if I was to spin this around, this is how it looks from the back. Right. Now, the next main thing that we want to look at is this part here, which we refer to as our palm, hands, or we all have different ways of referring to it. The carpal bones are very important. Now, if I was to switch this image around, so you can see here, this is the ulna, and then this is the ulna. Alright, in fact, to make it more simple, we'll go down to the other side behind, so you get a better idea. So over here we have the ulna, and here we have the radius. So you got this is your left hand, by the way, your thumb. So therefore this is the radius. The pinky finger. So therefore this is the ulna. Now these wrist bones here are known as carpal bones, and there's a simple acronym which can be used in order to remember these bones, which was taught to us when I was a student. I still am, but the simplest acronym for you to remember it is S, and I'll fill in this. S is the first one, L, T, the T didn't come out proper, P, T, T, C, H. Now what this means is she looks too pretty, try to catch her. That's what it means. So if I was to just write that down on the bottom in case you guys ever forget it, she looks too pretty, try to catch her. Right, now the S here stands for, so if I was to refer back to this image here, so we can see it's on the side of the radius, and it's near to the thumb. So this is the thumb here, this is your pinky finger here. So you have the first one on the bottom, closer towards this, it's known as the scaphoid. So you want to label it as the scaphoid, C-A-C-foid. Then you have the L stands for lunate. And then we have a T, which is triquetrum. So this is shown here. So if we start from the bottom, we have the scaphoid here, then we have the lunate here, then we have what's known as triquetrum, which is this bone here. Triquetrum. Then this blobby bone here, which sits on top of the triquetrum, is known as pisiform. Now the trick in understanding this now is that so we've got scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform. So scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform. Now we want to start back here again. So this is this massive one here, again back at the thumb, which is known as the trapezium. And then we move across, move this way, sorry. So this one here is known as, so after the trapezium we have the trapezoid. Then we have the capitate, which is this massive one here. This big one in the middle. Capitate. And then finally this massive one here, this bit here is known as hamate. And we have the, why are we wondering what's this little blobby thing again? Well, that's known as the hook of the hamate, which is shown here. So hopefully you take on board this small little acronym that I've used here. So we have S, she looks too pretty, try to catch her. Now if I was to label this on the diagram of the carpal bones, so we have S here, we have lunate, triquetrum, pisiform, then we start back here, we have the trapezium, then we have the trapezoid, then we have the capitate, which is the big one, C, then we have the hamate, which is the whole thing, but this blobby bit here is known as the hook of the hamate. So she looks too pretty, try to catch her, but don't. You can use this as an acronym to learn the carpal bones. Right, so now I'll get rid of all of this. So you can see here's the trapezium, here's the scaphoid, here is the lunate, here is the triquetral, pisiform, we already saw that trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and we have the hamate. Right, now what are these? Right, now if you notice, the clever ones amongst you lot would have noticed that there's 1, 2, 3 here, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4. So the thumb has one less one, and you might be wondering what these are called. This is the metacarpal of the first digit, right? And this is the proximal phalange, and here's the distal phalange of the first digit. So proximal means closer to the body because this is closer. So the first, what you need to know is this one here. So you get the first digit of the metacarpal, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Then you have proximal phalange, first digit, proximal second, proximal third, proximal fourth, proximal fifth digit, and then what you have here is you have distal phalange, first digit of the hand. Then you have intermediate. So the difference is the thumb doesn't have an intermediate phalange of the second digit, intermediate of the third, fourth, and fifth. And then you come back here, you've got the distal of the first, distal of the second, third, fourth, fifth. So if I was to label this, what you have here, here, and here. But with this one, you have one here, 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 and here. Now this is known as the proximal phalanges of the first digit, and you've got the second, so this is the first, you've got the second here, you have the third, fourth, and then you have the fifth. Again, you have the first. So now that's one. No, this is one. First. The proximal phalange. This one corresponds to this one here. So you got the second, third, fourth, and fifth. So this square here represents the proximal phalanges. And what the exception is, this bit here is known as the intermediate. So this here is the intermediate phalanges, and the thumb doesn't have this one. So you start off with second, third, fourth, and fifth. And then what you have here is the distal phalanges, second, third, fourth, fifth, and the first one's here. So hopefully by this you understand the different types of bones present in your upper arm, and you get a good idea of what I talk about. Hopefully now we're going to move on to the no, I'm going to end this video here. Hopefully you like the video. If you haven't understood anything quite clear enough, maybe you might want to rewind the video back and watch it again. Please leave a like, subscribe, and please comment as well. If you feel like I've not explained it in a very very good manner, any improvements on my videos that can be made is more than helpful. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys learn. Please share this video with all your friends, and hope to see you in the next video. Cheers, thank you.